What's next? As you can see on your screen, the next point is of great importance. Okay, next point that we're going to talk about is creating first impression. Now, you don't really get a second chance to make the first impression, do you? Now, let me ask you a question. Honestly, if you had to hire anyone of these two guys, who would you hire? And why? No, take a look at it. I'm waiting. Who would you hire and why? Now, if you see here, that obviously the first choice that you will have is the guy who's dressed in suit and very well dressed. And he's carrying a professional bag with him, leather bag, and he's absolutely dressed in formals and suit and the right tie. Everything is good. Now, I'm not saying the other guy isn't good, but you see, chances that there could be a possibility that the guy wearing t-shirt and jeans can be very, very talented, can be exceptionally talented. But in the first glance, who would you pick? Who would you want to work with? The guy who's wearing formals. That guy doesn't have to be, he may not be as talented as this guy, but still, do you realize that automatically your eyes would pick him and not the other guy? So, no matter how talented you are, no matter how hardworking you are, you see, if you want to create a first impression, if you want to make the right image, and if you want people to pick you, to choose you, then understand that you need to be presentable. Alright, now there are exceptions. I understand that if you're working in media, you can wear whatever you like, t-shirt, jeans and 3/4, it's fine, but not in a corporate environment. That's not accepted. Even for Saturdays, there's a dress code. We can't just wear anything like flip-flops and go to work on Saturdays. Okay, there are these ethics, there are these rules, there are these list of etiquette that we need to know, and we'll discuss them in detail in a bit. But for now, please understand that you won't choose. Now you have to decide, would you want to be like this one or the one who's wearing jeans and t-shirt? Impressions. Dress, behave and communicate in a way that reflects audience expectation. Now this is so right. I discussed it earlier. I raised that point earlier that, you might think, or we might think, or we all might think that we want to be the way we want to be and we don't care about how others think. But in a way, it's not true. Why? It's because, let me share this with you, it's because, what your boss thinks about you is important for you because he will give you the promotion. Now you might think, oh, I'm true to myself and I will do whatever I'm comfortable with and I don't care about the world. That's good, but that's in your personal life. But in your professional life, what people expect from you is absolutely important. So yes, what your clients think, yes, what your boss thinks, yes, what your seniors think about you does make a lot of sense, and it's absolutely important if you want to grow in your life, in corporate, in your professional life. So what are these three key things? One is your appearance. You have to be very well dressed, guys and girls, men, women, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be very well dressed. Number two is you have to learn to behave well. Okay, you're very well dressed, but if you do not behave well with people, it's not going to make sense. People will not like you. You'd just be like an eye candy, but no good. Okay, so yes, first thing to keep in mind is your appearance. Second thing to keep in mind is your behavior. And third thing to keep in mind is your communication. The power of language. What you speak, how you speak, how beautifully do you use your vocabulary, how nice your body language is, how well do you speak, how well do you modulate your voice, how well do you present. These three factors will together combine and these will meet the expectations of the audience. And audience in this case will be the people who you are dealing with. So next, why positive impression? Why? Actually, here's the science behind it, here's the psychology behind it, here's the research behind it. It says that when you meet me for the first time, okay, suppose you meet me for the first time, the way you behave, the way I see you, okay, the way you come across is actually going to be a memory that I will have with me about you forever. Now, if you were good to me, if you were nice to me, and in that case, I will remember that forever about you. But if you looked shabby, and then if you were not dressed well, and if you didn't behave properly, if you're not nice to me, in that case, I will remember that as well forever. All right, it's like writing the first page of the book. All right, and you always remember the beginning of something. You've seen movies. I'll give you an example. One of the best examples that I'll give you is movies. People always remember the beginning of the movies. Don't we? We remember always the beginning. That's why beginning has to be very important. That's why first impression, which is the beginning, in a way, of you, it has to be very, very powerful and has to be positive. So, making first positive impression, how do we do it? Number one is we have to determine the audience. I understand that you might think we are not making any presentation here. I'm not going and becoming a public speaker. Why do I need to determine my audience? Yes, we have to. Suppose you're going for a sales meeting with your client, marketing meeting with your client. Now what you have to understood, or you have to meet the CEO of your company or all the heads of your companies. Now what you have to understand, that you need to understand very carefully who are the audience. Determine who's the audience, who are the people that are going to be there where you're going. Second is you need to identify their expectations, meaning what do they expect from you. So then example, you're going and meeting clients, 5 of them, okay, they're sitting, and you know that they're going to be meeting you, all right, and then you identify their expectations from you. What are they expecting from me? Like what can they expect from you? They can expect you to be well prepared. They can expect you to be presentable. They can expect you to represent your company very well. They can expect you to be on time, right? They can expect you to be well-mannered. Yes. So then these are their expectations, and you need to know the expectations, and you will know what is expected and to what level it is expected from you if you know your audience. And then after that is done and you know their expectations, then you establish objectives. What do you want now that you know their expectations? Now you decide what is it that you want to establish, or what are the objectives of this meeting that you're going to have. What are the objectives? What do you want to achieve? Now, if your objective is to let's say go and crack a deal with the clients, then in that case it's clear. Now you know who's your audience, you know what are they expecting from you, you have a clear objective, and which is that you want to make a sale. All right, then you know these things, then you start preparing. What do you have to do? You need to make sure that you dress to the nines, you dress very, very well so that you could kill, okay, so to speak. And then you need to learn. Actually, you know it. If you don't know it, then you learn. All right. You need to learn to behave properly. If you're short-tempered, if you get angry, if you snap at people, if you do that, okay, if you're sarcastic, now these are the things that you need to learn if you are so that you behave well. Okay. So we need to learn to behave well, and then concentrate on your communication. How are you going to start? How are you going to end it? What is the statistics? What is the data that you're going to provide? How are you going to convince them? What are you going to do? And what's the delivery? And what's the voice modulation and your body language? You need to work it in such a way that it meets the expectations of the audience. Well, as we all understand, it's always about the audience. If it's a movie, if it's a theater, if it's a presentation to 10,000 people at a time, or if it's a meeting with a client for business purpose. Do you get that? It's all about the audience. It's not about you, it's about them. That is why you set the objectives, you learn the expectations, and then you give them exactly what they want. You dress well, you behave well, and you communicate well. That's it, and your job is done. It's as simple as that. But it sounds simple, but at the same time, it's very difficult to do. Okay, so the first impression does count. Your attire speaks first. The moment when you come and stand in front of you, open the door and you come and stand in front of me, what's going to happen? I'm going to look at you and I'm going to make some opinion about you. Though if you dress very nicely, what all can I think about you? I can say that, oh, he's well mannered and he knows etiquette, well groomed. He's from a good family. He's very well educated and he's doing well in life, right? I can obviously just judge these things looking at you. Okay, that's important. Second is you arrive in good time. You arrive on time. Well, my respect for you will increase. You dress well. You arrive on time. And then you make a good entrance. You're not like rushed, and because you're in time, you're not in a hurry. Okay, you come 15 minutes before time and you're well rested, and then you go there. Okay, and then you go there on time and you make a good entrance. You powerful body language. You enter and you greet people, and voila, people will like you. Lastly, display a right body language. I just said that. Display a right body language to when you greet them. Handshake has to be nice. 2-3 pumps will learn that. Don't worry. And when you stand, you use everything that you've got. If you've got whatever height you've got, 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, 6 feet, whatever the height that you have, use it completely. Stand straight. Don't slouch. And listen to them. Nod. Yeah, smile. These are things that you need to know. And when you do this, you're going to make a very, very beautiful first expression, guys. All right. So just look at this picture. First impression, which will create confidence if you do this. Number one, trimmed haircut. I know it's a fashion these days to have these unkempt and messy hair, but but we need to understand that we'll be working in a corporate environment and we need to have a trimmed haircut. We need to be clean shaved. We need to have a warm smile. Smiling is amazing. Smile can do wonders. Trust me, and everyone likes people who smile, because in this world of high competition, in this world of stress, people have actually forgotten to smile. Nobody smiles. If you don't believe me, just stand outside any building which has many offices, and just see people coming to work in the morning, and you will hardly see anyone smiling. The very straight face, and half of them have a sad face. It isn't a good sight, and it seems that they're not happy. They're just dragging their bodies. That's why it's always good that you smile, because we don't see many smiling faces around. If you don't trust me, just look around. How many smiling faces do you see? But if we always catch some of these guys and we tell them, oh, he always keeps smiling no matter what. I mean, these people get noticed. Everybody has problems, but then you need to learn to smile, because problems will be there anyway. But that doesn't mean that your problems will lead you to not smile. All right? So you are making a promise that you will keep smiling no matter what. All right? Good. Formal dress. Yes, it's a business setting. You will have to be dressed in formals. There's no discount on this as well. Correct body posture. You use, like I said, you use everything that you have. So stand straight, and that shows confidence. You look at all the successful people, they never walk like this. They never will. And you look at people who are not doing well, and they're like losers, so to speak. And they've been going through a lot of failures. Most of them, if they're not fighters, and they will never stand like this. They'll always be like this. But look at all the successful people. They make sure, even if there's a storm going on in their mind, even if they're feeling underconfident, but they will make sure that they stand straight. So all these successful people, now that you know and you can see it, that they walk straight, they always form, they breathe well. Okay, so that's what this exhibits, confidence. We need to learn from them. And always, these are the habits that actually they are taught to us from the time we are kids. We're always told to sit straight and not a slouch. Stand straight, not a slouch. But then we normally don't pay attention, and even when we grow bigger, our problems of not walking straight and slouching grows bigger too with us. So here, now I want you to put a full stop to it, and no matter whatever, no matter you're feeling confident, no matter you're feeling underconfident, you're feeling stressed, or whatever that is, I want you to feed this into your mind that you need to walk straight, you need to have the right body posture, because you don't understand and you don't realize that it speaks a lot about you. And even if you don't want to communicate, it will still communicate about you, saying that you're not in the right state of mind. So with your body, they can actually judge what's happening in your mind. That's why correct body posture is absolutely important. Lastly, firm handshake. We'll learn how to do a handshake like in detail and what it signifies and what's a good and what's a bad handshake. But handshakes are a must, We normally don't fold our hands in business environment. So then we do a handshake. So handshake, how to do it, we'll learn that. But then for now, just understand that a handshake is very important. You do these 5 things and you will look confident, my dear people. Okay. But then there are certain things that you should not forget. Number 1, arrive 15 minutes early. Absolutely important. Arrive 15 minutes early. Why? I'll tell you why. Normally, I arrive half an hour early. Well, I'll tell you. I'm just telling you 15 minutes. Why? Because it's not possible all the time for people to arrive half an hour early. At least 15 minutes. Why? Because, you know the traffic that we have. And things can go wrong. Things can go wrong as in you might not find the taxi, you might not find the rickshaw, the train, the bus, or any mode that you use to travel. Sometimes it becomes, you might find traffic if you're driving your own car. So we can't predict traffic or predict things. So that is why it's important to leave early and reach 15 minutes early. Because let's say if you're running cut to cut, what's going to happen is that you reach there, it may be hot, and what's going to happen is you're going to be sweating and you might just panic. You may be a little panicky, and what's going to happen, it's going to show on your face. And if it's an important meeting, it doesn't look good at all. And by the way, every meeting is an important meeting. You don't know what opportunity might just come out of any meeting for you. So that's what I'm saying. You arrive 15 minutes early, you sit at the reception, or you wait outside, and then you just look at yourself. And if you need to wash face and go to the restroom and wash it, you need to use deo or perfume, you do it. You need to make sure that your clothes are in place. Just take care of it, and then you look fresh, and then you get in. Those 15 minutes can actually help you a lot. And also, by the way, if you have some papers that have to be arranged in an order, you can do that. So that's why at least arriving 15 minutes is very important. So, and then when you relax, obviously your mind is calm and collected. And then when you get in, the first thing that you do is you greet them and you introduce yourself. Obviously, when you do a handshake, you will make sure that your handshake is firm. It's not like this, so it's not very weak, like a firm handshake. But remember not to crush their hands if you go to gym. And always remember to smile and to make eye contact. Now, when I say make eye contact, you don't have to stare at them, but yes, to make sure that you have a very mild eye contact, and you also blink after some time. Don't just keep doing this. All right. Now, also beware of your own movements. Now, that's a very interesting point. Beware of your own movements, as in, some people have a very strange habit of doing this, while talking. It's very silly, okay? And some people will just tap their feet like tuck, 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 which again isn't right, because a lot of these senior people actually notice everything about you, because your non-verbal communication, your body language and your expressions and these gestures, they speak a lot about you, and people will make judgments about you. If you keep tapping your feet, they might think that you're not interested and you're in a hurry and you want to get out of there, and that's not the right thing, because then you're giving them a picture that you are not interested in them, or that the person is boring, which they might not like. So in that case, you need to keep a track of your own movements. And if somebody's talking, you can't position your shoulders like this and then look at them like that, because that doesn't look good. If you are talking to someone, like let's say if you were in front of me, I should make sure that this is the position of my shoulder. I'm looking at you and not this way, because that shows that really you're not interested and you want to move out. Also, now we've spoken about observing your own body language, but then we need to watch the other person's body language as well. Well, that's important. How? I'll tell you. So what happens is, when you read the other person's body language, what happens is you will realize that you're realizing a lot of things. So what happens is, when you look at them, so when you're giving a presentation, when you look at their body language, it will tell you if they're interested. What points did you say that actually brought their attention towards you? What points you said which actually they did not like? And if they're smiling, are they enjoying your company? And you look at their body language and expressions, you can learn a lot about them. And if things are not going right, you can change things. But then how will you know this? You will know it if you read the body language. So body language is important. Now, what's the science of body language? What's like the definition? Okay, so body language is basically how your body speaks, the language of your body. We have so many languages in the world. We have so many languages in our country itself. So much of variation. But that's the language which is verbal, the oral language. But there is a language that exists, which is the language of your body, and that's called body language. Okay, speaking of body language, let's understand the language of the body, which is called the body language. We have so many languages in this world, we have so many languages in our country. Same way there is a language of the body too, which is called the body language. You know, knowingly, unknowingly, we actually speak a lot through our body, through our expressions, through our stance, through our gestures, through our hand movements, through our leg movements. We do a lot. So I'll give you an example. Every gesture is like, is like a single word, and it has a different meaning. Like. So you see, these things mean different things. Now, obviously, I know that you understood when I said this, when I said this, when I said this. So you see, these are gestures are like words, and they have meanings. All right. So different gestures mean different things. Just the way one word means something and the other words mean something, same way gesture could be like one gesture could be like one word which means something, and another gesture could be like another word which means something else. Yeah, there's like a whole science behind it. Okay, connecting with others. Learn everyone's names quickly and use them. You see, that's important. A lot of times we know the names, but then because we don't use them, that's why you forget them. So it's important that when you address people, you first time when you meet, you learn their names, but then you use them so that it sticks in your mind. And obviously, like I said, we live in a world of networking. So networking is important, and because the way I think about it is word of mouth publicity is far more better than any other kind of publicity. Why? Is because word of mouth is more credible. If my friend comes and tells me that this is the product that I should buy, I'm going to buy it because I trust my friend. If my friends tell me this is a good movie that I need to go and watch, I'm going to go and watch that movie because obviously it's my friend recommends it, and I actually, he's a credible source for me, credible source of information. That is why word of mouth is very important, and networking as a result is very important. So when you network, people know you, and then they will go out and speak to other people about you. So in a way, it's the word of mouth publicity that's happening. Now, networking will happen, coming back to networking, it will happen only when you meet people more. How? Please be open to invitations of lunch and dinner or breakfast. And you also should invite people. Now, next thing is, you need to learn to praise people often. Now, you might think, Amit, that sounds very fake. Now, my answer to that would be, I'm not saying that you should make fake compliments. All I'm saying is, it's important that you give compliment to people. If you see that someone is doing good work, please go and appreciate. Because a behavior that is appreciated, it actually doubles and triples and quadruples. That's why they say catch them when they are good. All the good coaches, they tell you that. Catch them when they are good, because if you appreciate what they're doing, and it will double. They will double their performance and the behavior will double. That's why it is important to praise people often. But yes, understand that you don't have to do it very often, because if you keep complimenting people very often, what will happen is they might just be in a little bit of doubt as to what is he or she trying to do. Are they trying to is that person trying to flatter me, or is it like sarcastic, or is it a fake compliment? So then you be careful. Don't overdo it, but then yes, it is important to praise people often when they are doing something good. Okay, now let's come to introduction. How do you introduce yourself? Number one thing to do is, when you're sitting, just stand up. Now when you stand up, it's not that you're just giving respect to the other person, but you're also giving respect to yourself, because you're going to stand up and talk about yourself, which is good. instead of just sitting and talking about yourself. Stand up and talk about yourself. That way the other person will think that you're giving him or her the respect. At the same time, you're giving respect to your own self as well. Next, look at the person in the eye. When you stand up, look at the person in the eye. It's very important. That shows confidence. People who don't look in the eye, it either, we feel that they are underconfident, and people don't want to be, want to work with underconfident people, because everybody in this world of high competition, everybody wants people who are like highly confident so that they can get things done from people and then they can deliver. Okay? So look them in the eye, and this will show a sign of confidence. All right? And extend your hand for a firm web-to-web handshake. So what's web-to-web? So this is called a web, okay? So it has to be like a firm web-to-web handshake, like firm, really firm. But obviously, don't crush it. And avoid what? That's the first thing. Bone-crushing handshake. So you're not even if when I said have a firm handshake, don't like literally take it when you have to make it very firm when you crush their hands. So it's not going to be like that. I understand that you go to gym, but please, and you work out, but please just make it firm, but not like bone crushing. There's a difference between being firm, having a firm handshake, and bone crushing handshake. Next is wet fish handshake. So what happens is, a lot of times we see that some people have sweaty hands, that their hands, this section especially, it becomes sweaty. So in that case, you got to be very careful when you shake hands with people. Just make sure that you carry a napkin and you wipe it before you make a handshake. And if it happens regularly, and the sweating, and if the handshake also has to happen regularly, just make sure that you have a handkerchief, or let's say a napkin handy, so you keep wiping it regularly. Also, grabbing someone's finger, it isn't right. You see, some people just handshake, they do their handshake, they just do a handshake with this portion. This isn't good. That's not right. And after you're done with the handshake, what you do is you say your name and something about yourself. So just tell your name. Hi, my name is this, and I'm this. Right? So in my case, it'd be, hi, good morning. My name is Amit Dubey. I'm a coach, soft skills and behavioral trainer. And that's it. So it's a quick introduction about yourself. All right? Look at these slides. It says, hi, I'm John Smith. I work in process improvement in polymer division. And the lady says, I'm his wife. Okay, let's talk about introduction. Failing to introduce people looks unprofessional. So now, example, if I am standing with 3 people, and if I see you and I know you, and if I just come and say, hi, hello, how are you doing? And if there are people, standing beside me, and if I'm not introducing them to you, it doesn't look good. And these people will not feel comfortable. So in that case, it is absolutely important that you introduce everyone who's with you. Not like all of them, but when it is important. Remember to use last names. So if it's a very formal setting, remember that you're not supposed to use the first name unless you're on a very friendly basis. If you are in a business setting, remember to use the last name, or like the full name. You say Mr. Amit Dubey, or you say Mr. Dubey. You don't say Amit. You say Amit only if we are friends and we share a good rapport. All right, and only if I am okay with you using my first name, or using my first name publicly. All right, so just understand that, and remember to introduce the person of greatest importance or authority first. So example, if there is a manager, and there is assistant manager, and there is let's say and then junior. So in that case, you introduce the person who's of utmost importance first. So you say, meet Mr. This, and he is the manager of our department, and he does this, anything. All right. Okay. Now, handshake. What's the anatomy of a good handshake? See, I don't know if you've noticed, but handshakes talk a lot. So, if there are 2 presidents meeting of let's say 2 countries, all right, and one president can be, let's say, is of America, and the other president is of some small country, which is a small country, any small country. All right. So what happens is, you will see that when they shake hands, the American president, because it's a powerful country, the American president will always have he will have a upper hand, because that means he's taking control. So his hand will always be up, this part. You see this one, because this shows control, wherein the one who has hand lower is like giving the control. You'd always see that the most powerful, most dominant person will have a handshake here, and his hand will be up, his or her hand will be up. And the one who has hand below is actually the one who's giving control. All right, and so that's a psychology. That in fact, there's a documentary on that, and I saw it, and actually, I believe in this one. All right, and the last one that we see here in the picture is like a professional handshake where it's proper web to web, like this is web to web, 2-3 pumps, and it's firm. And in fact, if you see in America and in a lot of cultures where the deal is finalized, they have like a proper handshake. All right, and that means that signifies that the deal is done. Okay, so so handshake positions? This is really weak, and I see a lot of people doing it. Like I said, they just touch this portion and they say, and then they shake hands. It doesn't look good at all, and I do not appreciate that. And I see a lot of people doing it, which is such pity. And don't make it like too firm, like very very firm, very very hard, and then people don't like that too. That the normal one is the one where I said it's like a firm, it's firm, and it's 2-3 pumps and web to web, and it signifies the trust. It signifies that people can go ahead. It signifies strong relationships. All right, and the third one that you see is the normal and the most proper way to shake hands. So let me tell you the process now, so that you will never in your life make a mistake of not giving a good handshake. So number one is, remember, extend your right hand. Now, even if you are left-handed, but still, you extend your right hand, is because normally most of the people are right-handed, so you will hardly see people shaking left hands. So that it's appropriate to use the right hand for your handshake. Use it. One, and then web to web, finger to finger, web to web, finger to finger. Their web here, your web here, their finger here, your finger here. It goes like that. And then you grasp the other person's hand firmly and completely. Okay, firmly and completely. Look it in the eyes and smile. All right, and then release the hand in 3 seconds at the most. Okay, pump, 1-2 pumps, and then out. You look, and then you're out. And then, but no matter what, never ever refuse to accept someone's hand. Well, that's something that you need to remember. Always, if somebody is extending his hand, please go ahead and give the handshake. It'll be very rude, and the person will not like it, and will lead to embarrassment, or probably he might just get furious as well. So always give a handshake if somebody is asking for it. All right. So now look at these pictures. Look at these 7 faces here. Who would you actually like to have conversation with? Now, the most common answer that we all will come up with is the lady who's the first picture, right? Why? It's because that's the most approachable, that's the most positive face that I see. So understand that always keep smiling no matter what. We've discussed this in detail. Whatever goes out inside, we've discussed this in detail. Whatever goes on inside, don't let it come outside. You have to show that you're calm and composed, because you just can't let your inner feelings destroy your image. You just can't be reflecting what's inside always outside. So example, you're angry, you're frustrated, and if you're short-tempered, it just can't keep coming out all the time, because then it will not be appreciated. So keep your feelings aside when you are in a business environment, and make sure that you keep smiling. Okay, so this is really a saying. They say that when in doubt, smile your troubles away. Actually, this is a very good technique, and it is taught in public speaking as well. When there are a lot of people who actually get nervous, and it is seen from their face. They are taught to, even they think that the nervousness is showing off, it's coming out, and it can be seen on their face. In that case, what can be done is they are taught to smile. Just smile. All the time you're nervous, forget everything else. Don't try and show something else, and don't try and show that you're strong, and don't try and show that you're confident, because then in the process, it will just come out in a very unexpected way. So the best thing that you can do is just smile. You just look there in the eye and look at them and just smile. That's all. And it will put you at ease, and it will put the audience also at ease. Okay? Good. Eye contact is the next thing that we want to discuss. Eye contact is, I think, is something that can show if a person is confident or not. Something that can show if the person has conviction in what he's saying. It is something that can show trust. It can show something like relationship and bond. If 2 people are in rapport with each other, if 2 people know each other, and if there is a trust between 2 people, obviously they will maintain eye contact. And if there is no trust, the other person might look down, look here, look there, and that the person who's standing or who's sitting opposite you will figure out that you're not making eye contact and there's something wrong. Okay? So, what does eye contact show? It shows understanding and interest. It builds rapport, okay, the bond between the speaker and the listener. Now, you should also basically look at your audience in the eyes. It's scary sometimes, I understand, because for a lot of us, we may not be very comfortable with making the eye contact. It's hard, it's scary, I know it, but then you need to do it anyway. All right, so it's important. Okay, so a lot of us may not be very good with making eye contact, and then we are kind of learning to make eye contact, and obviously because we understand that it is absolutely important. So if you learn to make eye contact, what's going to happen is, one, we're not comfortable doing it, and then we may not be very comfortable trying to look in the eye, because if you do it for too long, it might look that as if, I'm staring. So we don't want it to be too long, too short, and we're wondering where to look on what exactly for how long. So in that case, just remember, just you look here in between the eye. That's the right way. Look somewhere here, and that person will automatically understand that you're making eye contact with that person. Also, when you're making an eye contact, just look at that person, and then you can shift somewhere else. So if there's a laptop, just look into the laptop, or if there's something else, if they're saying something, you can look down, and that'll show that you're thinking about and you're grasping and you're taking in whatever that person is saying, and then look back again. So say about 5 to 15 seconds, you just look at that person and you look down or something else, and then you look back again. So that way, that not necessarily if you have to do it, but then what happens is, when you keep doing it, it looks normal. And if you're trying your best, okay, if you're not very good at making eye contact, and you're trying your best to maintain eye contact, in that case, and if you think that if you do it for too long, it might get uncomfortable for that person and for you as well, because you're trying hard. So what you can do is just look at that person for anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then you can look down somewhere and at the screen, or at the book, at the notes, or whatever that you have, and then you can look back again. So say about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you look for fractions of seconds down or somewhere else, and then you look back again. That shows that you're interested.